before white people came to North America. No, it was not heaven. No, 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 no. A lot of people think that, yeah? A lot of people think that, oh, before the white man came, we lived in peace and harmony with Mother Earth and you know, our children played freely and our women did things, and freely and all this kind of. It wasn't like that. No, 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 no. It was not like that. It was war, all out war, all over both continents. Indian tribes are warring with each other. It's dangerous. Yeah, it's very dangerous. So you don't just say, okay, uh, let's have a picnic, honey. Yeah. So you get your woman and your children, and you go find some nice place that's romantic where the children can swim, and you and your honey can smooch and do all kinds of wonderful things to each other, and that didn't happen. No, 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 that did not happen. There's an old movie called Windwalker, and you see a scene like that. Yeah, there's a movie scene like that. That never happened because it's dangerous. You don't know what's out there. There could be a small group of enemies moving in your territory. If you do that, they might take your woman, gang rape her, and kill her, or you know, or one guy might make her his woman and steal her children and make them into slaves or something like that and kill the man. See, dangerous things happened. It's a dangerous time. So no, you didn't do things like that. Yeah, they always went in groups because you never know. Yeah, you have to be careful. It's a very dangerous time. So they were prepared. Yeah, they're always prepared. And not against enemies, but also the weather. The weather could really change drastically, and and you could have a problem. You could, you better have your some dried meat ready because something could happen, and you can't go hunting or anything. So you always have to be prepared for anything. Yeah, in those days. Well, sometimes Indians would trade with each other, different tribes. How are they going to do that? How are they going to communicate with each other? Well, in North America, there was a sign language, hand, yeah, with your hands. There's a very, very complex uh, hand signs, and this is how they talk to each other. They would use their hand movements, and they'll say, "Yeah, moving their hands. This is my moving my hands." Okay, so let's say, "Oh yeah, last night, yeah, we went over to Bob, Funny Toes guy. We went to his place last night, and yeah, we went to McDonald's, and then after that, we went bowling." And then the other guy's like, "Oh wow, that sounds really cool. Yeah, yeah. All we did last night was we just were climbing trees." Hey. Shut off, guys. Saying that in sign language. Oh man, excuse me, but that's how it was. Yeah, I mean there wasn't any McDonald's, but they would say everything using the sign language. They found a way. Yeah, they found a way. Just think that sign language must be several thousand years old. Because when you hear different Indian languages, it's night and day, oil and water. They don't even sound alike. Yeah, they're not even alike at all. Not at all. So they found a way by using hand hand signs because it's better to I think Indians realize, Jiminy crackers, if we learn each other's languages, we gotta end up speaking, 80 some languages. Why don't we find something easier, yeah? And thus came the sign language. See what I mean? They found a way. So that's how it is. When you really need to communicate with somebody, you will find a way. Yeah. And the story I want to tell has to do with my father. Yeah. And my father, he didn't learn to speak English until he was 10 years old or something like that. And my mother was very similar too. My mother, she didn't learn to speak English until she was, yeah, about the same age. Maybe 8 years old. Maybe no, it was older than that. Because she had older relatives that could speak. Her older cousins, they went to boarding school, and they could speak English. And they were when they were teenagers, they were talking, about boys, yeah. And then my mother, she was like 10 years old and going around with these older girls, and then she would she would tell what they were saying because they were all talking in Lakota. And finally, my mom's older cousins, what they would do is they would talk English because my mother couldn't speak English. So this way, my mother couldn't tell, you know, their mother what was being said. Yeah. So that was so funny. I think. So I think my mother probably didn't learn to speak English until she was about 10 or 11 o'clock, 10 or 11 years old too. Yeah. So my parents, their first language was Lakota. Yeah. And so but my mother, she because of some life experiences, uh, she learned English soon. And but my father, when he was a little boy, he had a very, very. Both of my parents had difficult lives. Actually, my mother had tuberculosis when she was a little girl, and she about died. Yeah, um, that's another long story. I'm not going to tell that. I usually tell that on Mother's Day. Yeah, um, but my father also had a difficult life in a different way. Yeah, but still very difficult. But in his life, he was not able to learn to speak Lakota good at all. Yeah, my father never did learn to speak Lakota good at all. So if you speak English and you spoke to my father, you will still understand him, but it's like talking to somebody from France. Let me say it like that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Shoot. No, it is um I can see a certain French person getting really mad right now. No. Excuse me. Um no, but like for example, what one time there were some kids outside the house, and they were getting into a fight. Little tiny kids, yeah, like 5, 6 year old kids. And my dad went out there. Hey, you kids! Oh no! Hey, you childrens! Don't be arguing. Children's arguing, because these kids today, they only speak English, yeah. So if he spoke Lakota to them, they're not gonna understand him. So he said, "You childrens, don't be arguing." Oh man, it's so funny. But still, that shows you, yeah, that his English was not that good. And when I talk to him, sometimes I have to talk slow, so he understands. Yeah, and but it's just he was, he's a good guy. Yeah, so he's still able to talk to him. See, my parents were divorced when I was 2 years old, and I grew up with my mother, and then I never grew up with my father. I didn't these most of my growing up years. Probably saw my father twice because they're different reservations, yeah, and they're far away. So we never went down that way because it's too far. Yeah, it's too far. So that's why I didn't see him much, and it wasn't until my 20s that I started to see him more often. 'Cause he would come to visit, yeah, and my mother and father became really good friends after they divorced. So he would come up and visit, and it was nice, yeah. So I got to kind of get to know him all over, you know what I mean? Again, I should say, or for the first time, not again, but to know him for the first time. And so by now my English is really good, so I can't speak normal English to him. I have to slow down so he understands what I'm saying. Um, but that's how he is. Yeah, that was my father. Well, one year, um, there were these guys from Germany, and they came to our community in Dupree, South Dakota. There was a YMCA that was. I just heard a funny joke the other day. This guy said they traveled with his parents. They want to. The mom always wants to stop in at a rummage sale store. You know what I mean? The used goods stores, second hand. Yeah, yeah, second hand shops. See, always every time they travel someplace, they always want to stop at second second hand stores, and they they were driving down this street. She told her husband, "Pull in over there." She said, she said to her husband, "Pull in over there." She said, "I want to go in there and tell them they spelled the name of their store wrong." She said, she thought it was a Macy's store. All that time, YMCA. That's a funny res couple there, yeah. Oh shit. That made me laugh. Anyway, let's go. Let me go back to my story now. Okay. Well, the YMCA was building a new community building for, activities for the children, and the various volunteer groups were coming in from all over America and even from all over the world. Yeah, they would come and spend maybe a month, or some groups would come and spend a week. You know what I mean? They would take turns, and so all summer long at this YMCA, there were different people coming, and like church groups, yeah, that would come, and they would come and help to build this youth center. They were all there volunteering their time, and so when they so it was a very busy. Yeah, this was a little dinky town. There's just not even 500 people live in this town, and it's probably half Indian and half white. And the YMCA is a Indian. It was on the Indian part of town. Yeah, it was a first Native American YMCA in America. Really, yeah. and but they never had a building. But this happened in the 19, oh gosh, what I want to say 80s, yeah, 1980, early 19. Oh my gosh, it has to be even older than that because I think I was still in high school. So I will say the late uh 1970s, okay? Maybe 1976, 1977, something like that. And so yeah, that summer, there were lots of different people, you know, coming to this YMCA to help build it. They were all kinds of groups, like church groups, any kind of group that just does volunteer work. And it was like Habitat for Humanity, kind of, for those of you that know what that is. Um, and they would come, and like I said, some groups would stay there a week, maybe some would stay there a month, and they would all be, hammering away and you know whatever you do to make a house, that's what they were doing. And one month it was a group of Germans, and there must have been about 50 Germans. And uh and so the YMCA director, he was going, to uh the houses, uh the Indian neighborhood, and he said that, these we need a place for these guys to clean up. The YMCA director was asking families that, could you let them uh, use their bathroom for like an hour? Yeah. So the plan was, excuse me, the plan was for two Germans to come to your house, and they will use your bathroom, to take a shower, to at the end of the day, so in the evening time. They would come and take a shower. They had said they have their own soap, they have their own towels, everything. They just need a place to take the shower, and they will clean up. They said they will leave your bathroom very clean. So my mother said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." She said, and they so that evening, two Germans came to our house, and the one guy was really friendly, talked English really good. The other one was just quiet. Yeah, he was just quiet. He didn't say much, and the first guy, oh, he went to take a shower first. Yeah, the quiet guy went to take the shower first. In the meantime, this other guy was talking with my mother because my mother speaks good English, and my mother was asking him questions. Where are you from in Germany? What do you do, and all that kind of thing. And so they had a good visit. And then this guy told my mom, he said, this other guy, he said, he's really quiet. He said, he seems to be friendly, but he said he doesn't talk much. He said, and when he talks, we don't even understand him. Yeah, and that's the first time I learned that there's different dialects in German. Yeah, and they told him that he was from the north. This quiet guy was from the north part of Germany, and he said we don't even know what he's saying. We said when he talks German, we don't even understand him. So my mom thought that was really odd. Yeah. And so she said he's quiet and he sticks to himself. And he's the only one from that area, and he doesn't associate with anybody. But he seems friendly. He said, "Don't be scared." He said he seems friendly, and he seems to be a nice guy. He's a good worker. Yeah, and and I think he's having a good time, but I think he just feels a little bit sad because nobody understands him. Yeah, even among the German people, they don't understand him. So my mother said something to my father in Lakota. It's about, she wanted to translate because my dad didn't understand. So my mother translated everything to my dad, and my dad said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I will talk to him." My dad said. So my mom said, "Okay." So when that guy got done with his shower, uh, the friendly guy went. Yeah, he went to use the bathroom, and my dad, this the dark guy, the guy who's, I mean, he's not dark skinned, but you know what I mean. He's very quiet. I'll say the quiet guy, the quiet German. The quiet German was coming down. Excuse me, was coming down the hallway, and my father said, come, sit. He said, and so the German guy came and thank you. Yeah, he knew how to say thank you in English. And then my father, in his incredibly bad English, started talking to this German guy. In and here and here it turned out that this German guy spoke the same way that my dad did. It was like listening to two little kids, yeah, that are just learning how to speak English. it was it was like these two guys were little kids, yeah, and they're talking to each other, and my dad said, "Do you want to smoke?" Because my dad's a smoker, yeah. And the guy said, "Yeah, I smoke." So my dad said, "Let's go outside." He said, "Have a cigarette and drink some coffee." So the guy was really, really happy. Yeah. So he got some coffee for them, and they went sitting outside, and they were talking, and they're about the same age. Yeah. So they went outside, and they were drinking coffee and smoking, and um, my father said, "Did you eat?" And he said, "Yeah, we already ate." He said, "Okay." So he said, and then my dad started talking, and I don't know, I didn't hear everything that they were talking about, but I could tell that they were having a good time, and and the next evening, they came back, and the friendly German, he said to my mom, he said, "What happened?" He this guy's suddenly he's really in a good mood, yeah. The quiet German, he's really in a good mood. And they said, "What happened here?" And then my mom said, "Well, my they said that her ex-husband was talking. They had a good visit." So, and I think this guy was looking forward to coming to our house to visit with my dad. So they would have coffee, and sometimes my dad would have donuts, or excuse me, some kind of rolls ready. So they would be drinking coffee, eating donuts, and smoking and visiting like that, and it was nice. Yeah, it was very nice. They found a way. They both could. They both spoke incredibly bad English, but uh, but they still were able to communicate. And it shows you that when you want with somebody, you will find a way. Yeah, you will find a way. Excuse me. To continue with the story, their friendship really grew. Yeah, it really grew, and it was good to hear them laugh. Yeah, the guy was laughing and really had a good visit with my dad. And then excuse me, when they were going back to Germany, the guy came over and he wanted to say goodbye to my dad, and then my dad taught him our concept of doksha ake. Yeah, that in the Lakota, that there is no goodbye. You take a piece of me, you leave a piece of you with me, and it's from our talks, our visits. And he said, yeah, in our Lakota, uh, you know, you live on, yeah, and we keep each other alive. That's what my dad said. we keep each other alive inside of ourselves. And this guy really liked that, and he started to tear up. Yeah. So my dad gave him the warrior handshake. Yeah, in Lakota, there's a warrior handshake, and my dad taught him that. And he said, "Yeah, yeah." He said, "It was good to meet you." He said, "Yeah, Nina Taya Tachielo. It's really good to meet you, and you're my friend. Yeah, Wana, Wana, yeah, you're my friend." And here, the guy said, "Yeah, me too. You're my friend. You're my brother." He said. So that was really good. Yeah. So that guy probably had the experience of his life because of my dad. My dad knew that this guy is thousands of miles away from his home, his family. Maybe he doesn't even have a family. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's this way. Because, see, when my dad was a little boy, his father divorced his mother and got custody of my dad, and he married another woman. He left my dad's mother for another woman, and this other woman, she had about 6 kids already. And when they would eat, my dad was not allowed to eat with them. He had to go outside the house. When the family would eat, he had to go outside the house. Excuse me. Whatever was left or whatever was thrown in the trash, that was my father's meal. And this is why I can't understand my grandfather. Yeah, my father's father. I can't understand why my grandfather was so mean to his own son. I don't understand that. It's not our way. It's not human to be like that. So it's hard, yeah, for me when I think of that. And so my dad received no love. The only love that my dad received was from his mother. Yeah, one day he was at school, and she came to see him, and she kidnapped him. And my dad said that was the happiest time in his life. They stayed in the country. Yeah, they followed this river. They didn't know where they were going, but all they knew is they had to stay away from people because the police were looking for them. So he said that was the happiest time in his life. His mother had a blanket. It was winter time, and they would find a place to stay in nature against the blizzards, and she would wrap him in her blanket and hold him close to her. That was the happiest time of his life. And then the cops found them, and she was taken to jail, and he was sent back to his father, where his father greeted him with a whipping. He got whipped with a bullwhip. That's the life of my father, the childhood life of my father. So when I say difficult, now you know what I mean. Yeah. Then his mother was sent, I think, to a federal prison or something like that, and somehow she ended up in Denver, Colorado, and excuse me, she was just wandering, the streets, and she got killed in the alley. Somebody murdered her, and my dad was only like 8 years old when that happened. So from then on, my dad never experienced love until he met my mother. Yeah, and he didn't learn, and he didn't go to school after 8th grade. He didn't go to school, and so his English is really bad. So when my father saw this German guy, my father thought to himself, maybe Maybe he experienced the same thing. Maybe this guy had a difficult life too. My father kind of senses things like that. So my father, took him in. He wanted him to feel good. To feel, that he knows he's in a different country and things like that. So my father reached out to him in the very little English that my father knew. He reached out to this guy, and it turned out that this guy knows very little English too. But they found a way. Yeah, they found a way to communicate to each other. And as a result, at the end of 1 month, they were like brothers. Now, that's so cool. I love telling that story. Yeah, that's to me is a very beautiful story. And it shows you, that you don't have to speak a language perfect. Yeah, but you find a way. You still find a way. And when now after my father, telling him about Oksha Ake and gave him a warrior handshake, and this guy really felt good, and I could tell he was gonna cry, but he was happy too, that this was probably the experience of his life. I wished I knew this guy's name. I wonder if he's still alive, because I'm in Germany now, yeah, and I'm kind of in the north. Berlin is kind of in the north. If I knew his name, I would go see him. Yeah, and say, hey, remember my father? And maybe that'll make him feel good. But I don't know if he's still alive because that guy would have to be 80 something now. Yeah, maybe he's still alive. I don't know. I don't know. But it was good. Yeah, I'm really thankful I got to see that because that shows to me that when you really want to communicate to somebody, you will find a way. And if that person feels the same way, they will find a way too. Even if it's just hand gestures or just small things. It's still a way. And if the other person sees that you need help, and they want to help, they will do the same as you. They will try to understand what you're trying to say. They will reach out to you. They will really watch you to try to understand. What are you trying to say? Because they want to help you. Like with my father and this German guy. About 5 years ago, um, actually, it was probably 8 years ago. A woman wrote to me from Spain, and she said she always wanted to learn Lakota language, but she never found anything in Spanish. She wrote all of this in Spanish, and she would like to order the English one because she could speak some English. She said she wrote all this in Spanish, and so I sent it to. At that time, my good friend from Spain named Esther was my translator because I don't speak Spanish. Yeah, so Esther was translating for me, and this Esther translated for me this in English, and so I wrote a response for Esther to translate to me for her in Spanish. So Esther did that. And in my message, I said, if you want the English book, that must mean you can speak English. So if you would like to speak English with me, you can write to me in English. I said, and this woman said that she would like to order the book, but she wants to know if she could send a bank transfer because the English book is only available with PayPal. Okay. Um, but I can do bank transfer. You just have to ask me. Yeah. That's within Europe. And so this lady, I said that, and this lady wrote to me in English. She said, "Yeah, I can. Yes." I told her that I can accept the transfer, and I told her the amount, and then so she wrote back to me and she said, "I can't do it right now." She said, "I'm in a kind of in a difficult living situation." She said, "But I would like to. I would like to. I'll contact you when I'm ready, and let you know, and then you can send me your bank information." So I said, "Okay, take your time." And I just felt I felt something in this email. It's just digital communication, but I still felt something in this email. And so I I responded and I said, "Yeah, you can contact me anytime." I said, "Whenever you're ready." So she said, "Okay, I'll contact you when I'm ready." And I let it go. 3 years later, I got an email from her, but a different email address. Yeah. And she said, I don't know if you remember me." She said, "I wrote to you 3 years ago if I could buy their local language book, and you said I could pay you with bank transfer." She said, "Because I don't have PayPal." And I said, "Yeah, I remember you." I was so happy to hear from her again. Yeah. So I gave her the information, and I don't know, something told me, something just I just felt I need to stay in contact with this woman. I don't know what to do. So I felt that. I don't understand why. And I have no idea what this woman looks like. I don't know how old she is. I don't know anything about her, but something in that email was telling me I need to be in contact with her, and I don't know why. So the next day I say, "Okay, I sent your book, and you should be getting it in a few days, and I hope you're having a good day." That's all I said. And so she wrote back and wished me a nice day too. So I said, "Oh wow, she wrote back. Okay." So then I was thinking, what can I say next? I cannot let her go. I have to somehow connect, and I don't understand why. I just had that feeling. So I wrote another message. "So how's the weather over there?" And she would tell me. And she would say, "How's the weather in Berlin?" So I would tell her. Then the next day I had to think of another question. I have to, I have to, I have to, I don't know, but I have to somehow connect with this woman, and I don't understand why. So after she got the book, she told me, and I told her, "If you need any kind of questions, feel free to ask me." So, then one time I woke up, I went to the bathroom to wash up, and oh, my hair looked just goofy. I looked like that singer on Flock of Seagulls. So I thought, just to be funny, I'm gonna take a picture of myself and send it to her. So I said, "Yeah, this is what I look like when I wake up." I said. So she sent me a photo back, and she said, "This is what I look like when I wake up. I look funnier than you." She said. I saw her photo, and at that time, this was the year 2011, 2011. I saw her picture and I went, "Wow, beautiful woman." And we continued talking, and our conversations went into Skype. Next thing you know, we're Skyping. When you Skype, you're using a web camera. So we're seeing each other. And then she said, did you ever think of translating this into Spanish?" And then I told her that, yeah, my friend Esther started it, but she didn't have time to finish. And she said, "Can I look at it?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "If you want," she said, "I can translate for you." So I said, "Okay." I sent her the file to do that. And a month later, she had it finished, proofread, and everything. And that's the Spanish language book that's available right now. That woman is Marta Escandon from Spain. She translated the book for me. so great. She brought the Spanish language to the she let me say that I said that wrong. She brought the Lakota language to the Spanish speaking world. Be thanks to Marta, there's many people that in this who only speak Spanish that they're now learning how to speak Lakota. That's because of her. She made that bridge, and I will forever be thankful to her for that. Then we decided to meet in person in London because she used to live in London, and I think she's still there now. But and at this time, she was in Spain. So we agreed to meet in London, and we had I had the time of my life with this woman. Yeah, at that time, we're talking the year 2011, 2011, and since then I've had an even greater time. Not with Marta though, but somebody else. But anyway, because of this experience, a lot of people in this world who only speak Spanish are learning how to speak Lakota language now. It's a wonderful thing that this woman has done for me. She's done other things for me too that I will forever be grateful to her. Yeah, for this wonderful work that she's done. So that was Marta. That's how I met Marta. See what I mean? I just knew I had to be in contact with this woman. In the beginning. I didn't understand why. There's other things too that we did, but I can't say that because it's special things that Marta and I did with each other. And that's not the kind of thing you talk about in a public forum. Yeah, excuse me, but this is one of the most beautiful experiences in my life. And so yeah, this is what she did, and it was time for her to move to London because she had to go back to work because the Spanish economy is really bad. And the last time we spoke to each other, she was crying on the Skype, and that made me feel so sad. Yeah. But during this time that we knew each other, when we were going to fly to London to meet, I told her, I said, I can pay for the flights. Um, I said, but I don't have a credit card to book the flights. She said, I have a credit card. So I said, can you book the flights? And I said, I will pay you immediately. And she said, yeah, no problem. Do you see what I'm saying? When both of you want to make a connection, you will find a way. And if that other person wants it too, they will find a way too. I had the money, she had the credit card. Yeah? So she booked the flights, and when we met in London, I paid her back immediately. It was no problem. But what if I had said, I don't have a credit card, but I do have money to pay for the flights. And what if Marta said, well, I have a credit card? Then what if she said nothing after that? So I would next have to say, well, could you pay for it? And then I will pay you back. And then what if Marta said, oh, I don't know. Can't you find another way to pay for it? What if that's what she had said? If she had said that, this Spanish Lakota language book would have never come to exist. Yeah? If Marta had said, oh, I don't know. Can't you get a credit card someplace? What if Marta said that? Then it would have ended because I can't book a flight because I don't have a credit card. And if Marta doesn't want to help, then we end. We're done. That's it. Nothing would have been built because I would then see that I'm putting my heart and soul into everything, but Marta isn't. So it wouldn't last because she's not building a foundation, and I am. It's only one sided. She's not connecting the same way I am. And that nothing would have happened, and that book would have never got translated. Do you see what I mean? It takes two to really, really invest in a solid connection. And thank God she felt the same way that I did. I told her, I have money to pay the flights, but I don't have a credit card. She said, I have a credit card. I can book it. I said, cool. I said, I'll pay you immediately. Marta said, oh, don't worry about it. Just pay me when you can, she said. That, my friends, that shows you she felt the same way that I felt. And as soon as I got to London and met her at, where we met, I gave her the money right away. We trusted each other. That is love. That's unconditional love.